The Weed Porn Daily podcast is brought to you by PGP Discounters, a medical marijuana delivery service in California. If you're looking for the highest quality organic medicine and you are too stoned to drive, or possibly, I don't even want to judge, man, you might be disabled, these are the people for you. Head over to WeedPornDaily.com/PGP and check out their Weed Maps menu. They've got indicas, they've got sativas, they've got edibles, they've even got rolling papers and supplies to help you get your medicating started. So call them up. Every Wednesday they have a special event, Hump Day Wednesday something, I kind of forgot. But basically the 7th or so caller will get a $25 worth prize along with their purchase. So check them out. They're a great high quality cannabis service in California, and they fucking deliver. Like, you don't even have to go anywhere. Just call them and they will bring weed to your door. Like, 99% of the world fucking hates you guys in Cali right now. So PGP Discounters, WeedPornDaily.com/PGP. And the Weed Porn Daily podcast is also brought to you by the Weed Porn Daily Stoner Shop. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, pillows, iPhone cases, iTouch cases, laptop skins, everything you need. Stationery cards. You know, if you wanna give a friend some stoner stationery, we've got all that. Head over to shop.weedporndaily.com. I just released a new product. It's a pot print. It's literally just a bunch of pot leaves in a certain pattern. Very popular product. I mean, I posted an iPhone case on the Tumblr and it got over, I think, 1,000 notes on the first day. So very popular. It's one of those very simplistic yet very effective designs. Hope you guys can appreciate it. Head over to shop.weedporndaily.com. Forgot to mention, because I'm stoned, free shipping until Sunday. The link is a fucking bit.ly link. I can't really tell you guys. But if you head over to weedporndaily.com/tag/shop, you should find an archive of all the previous shop advertisements I've done. And all this week I've been linking to the promotion. It's not a coupon code you enter. You just click the link I give you and you get free shipping. It's a great offer. I think it's international, so all you guys all over the world can get your stoner t-shirts. And that's it. If you want to sponsor us or donate, head over to weedporndaily.com/contribute or weedporndaily.com/advertise if you want to advertise. And if you want to submit any content, head over to weedporndaily.com/contribute again. Sorry, that was a little superfluous. But you can submit pictures, any cool videos you've seen, any news that I may have missed. Excuse me, anything like that. And I think that's it. Pretty short ad. Tried to keep it short and sweet. Let's get this show started. Oh, it's actually going to be a small delay. Normally I do like a fake bong rip, and we get the show started. You know, you hear the disc percolator and my Illadelph bubble up a little bit, and I pull out the bowl and you hear it chug. But this time, I just got done eating dinner, and my stomach is stuffed. I've been having this problem lately where I've been increasing my exertion of energy. I've been working out more, I've been working more, just keeping very active. So my actual eating has gone up, and my caloric intake has gone through the fucking roof. I've gone from eating 3 to 4 meals a day to 5 to 6. It's crazy. So I'm feeling mega stuffed right now, and I would love a bowl to burn, and then it'll burn any discomfort in my stomach. It'll just melt away. So fantastic. This week we're smoking on the same shit we've been smoking the last like 3 weeks. Last like 2 weeks. It's a sativa. I don't know the fucking name for the life of me, and I've smoked it before, you know? Oh, it's like one of those sweet, fruity yet kind of like coffee almost, skunky smells. Very potent, great for the munchies, great for energy, great for motivation and creativity. Like, it's rare that I can actually say that a strain makes you creative. And this particular one, every time I smoke it, I just cannot help but start working on something creative, or just working in general. It just gets me flowing. It took me like a minute to pack a bowl there, sorry guys. But goddamn, my fingers smell good. Let's get this party started. Hope you guys pack your bowls. Hope you guys were heating up the nails and the skillets in that time. You guys should check out the Subliminator, by the way. It's up on Pot TV and Mark Clocoid's YouTube channel. It's a new way to vaporize. It's kind of like the e-nail, but you can use flowers, and it's I think it's way more convenient. But cheers. Wow. That would have been a lovely hit to record. Super smoky. Super tasty. I'm down to my last 2 nugs. And this whole batch, I've been grinding. And, it's made it taste like wood, you know? And now that I've been able to pick it apart by hand, I could really appreciate the terpenes and the flavonoids. Oh, such a good experience. Welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Weed Porn Daily podcast. I am Grouch, the editor, owner, designer, the dude behind Weed Porn Daily. The Grouch behind the ass box, the guy who's usually being... I was gonna say witty. Honestly, witty was the first thing that came to mind, and I shot it down, and I was like, you are not witty, sir. You're just fucking... you're a sarcastic asshole. So, thank you guys for joining me. Please follow on Twitter, WeedPornDaily. Follow us on Instagram, Ganja Grouch. Follow us on Facebook, WeedPornDaily again. Follow us on Tumblr, WeedPornDaily. Like us or subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/user/WeedPornDaily. And I think that's all the social networks. Just head over to WeedPornDaily.com and you'll be set. Today I've got some news for you guys, like news, Weeducation news, and I've got a little bit of Weed Porn Daily news. And then I watched the 3rd and 4th episodes of Weed Country. So I've got a little bit of commentary on that, and that'll be the show. I think last time I proved that I can just talk about news and fill up a whole fucking hour. Sorry about that, you guys. I'll try not to blab too much this time. The first article I wanted to talk about, if you want to follow along, if you're not seeing the links below the podcast, which I usually do, you can head over to weeducation.weedporndaily.com, and that'll take you to the news section. Or you can click the Weeducation button on the top of the website if you don't know how the fuck to spell Weeducation, or you don't know what word I'm saying. Yeah. Washington students, wow, sorry, weird title. Washington students, pot more popular than cigarettes. This comes to us from the Associated Press via the 420 Times, the Seattle AP. Excuse me. Washington high school students who participated in a statewide survey say they are twice as likely to smoke marijuana and cigarettes, and the state's top health official said Thursday she's worried that a new marijuana law may make prevention efforts more difficult. High school smoking has decreased significantly across the state, with cigarette smoking down in grades 6, 8, 10, and 12. Damn, what happened to 9 and 11? Oh shit. But the numbers of high school students who believe using marijuana is risky is also at a low point, health officials said after releasing the 2012 survey results. Editor's note, yeah, come on, man. Like, marijuana isn't risky. Like, it's finally, you can't lie to these children who have the fucking internet, you know? I think I'm gonna stop reading the article because it's just all statistical stuff. You guys could read it if you're really interested. But I thought it was really fascinating, you know? This is a trend that we're probably gonna see happen across the nation, across the world. I mean, it's happening, I believe, in Amsterdam right now, because of the legality of cannabis and because, you know, they've disseminated this propaganda about cannabis. You know, everybody knows it's completely harmless. You've got children in school smoking it, and now they've actually had to ban smoking cannabis in school. You know, it was an article I reported on, I think, a month ago. And it was like a kind of a joke article because you'd think that it was a no-brainer, especially in Amsterdam, but they recently just had to ban smoking cannabis. Excuse me, that hit left me a little dry mouth. And what's most interesting here is that not only is the number of people smoking marijuana going up, but the fact that they don't believe it's risky, that a lot of them are awakening to the truth. That's interesting here. And that there are still adults who are clinging on to this old school propaganda, and they're yelling at these children who are essentially believing the truth. You know, they're trying to embrace the future, and the adults are trying to hold them back here. I mean, not to say that, I don't want to say that I'm promoting underage smoking necessarily. You know, there isn't enough substantial evidence to show that it's completely harmless. Although, I, you know, personally haven't seen people, you know, I haven't seen somebody smoke weed all through high school and then, you know, fucking become homeless because they've lost all their brain cells. You know, it's not that bad. You know, President Obama smoked. They called him fucking, what was it? They called him like Cheech Obama. Like, it was some fucking stupid ass name. Like, literally, if you read the Obama, like, biography about him smoking weed, he used to steal people's smoke. He used to just grab the joint from people and just, like, smoke it. And he'd be like, smoke bomb! Ah! You know, and it was like a thing that he tried to make. And I'm sure if I was his friend, I'd be like, stop trying to make that a thing. Give me back my fucking joint. Don't steal my joint again, dude. Puff, puff, pass. Like, Obama was such a douchebag that he tried to override puff, puff, pass. So, yeah, I mean, I got a little disjointed there. I'm sorry, you guys. But it's nice that the students are waking up to the future. I mean, it's a little disappointing that the usage is going up. I mean, hopefully with the legalization, we'll actually see the usage go down, because the availability... Actually, who am I kidding? The availability is not going to go down after legalization. When we talk as advocates about, you know, why do kids not have access to alcohol? Because it's legal, because it's in a regulated system, because it's, you know, not sold on the streets. That's not going to happen with pot until we see a kind of whole international, possibly even global legalization. Because, goddamn, dude, as long as there's 48 other states that need weed, there's going to be an underground market, and these kids are going to be tapping into that underground market, sadly. So that's my statement on the usage, and good news on the kids being smart, man. I have faith in this next generation. They aren't believing in the propaganda. That says something huge, man. Really. Why did I see? What I do, guys? I'll let you in on my secret. I have an Evernote, and I just collect articles that I think are interesting. And I don't know why I reported, or I wrote this one down. Okay, sorry, I actually had to read it. It's not really that pertinent to you guys. Sorry about that. Honestly, it's just crime shit. I try not to bring you guys down with too much crime. Like, there are so many busts reported. Like, big bust, little bust, people getting pulled over, people this, people that. And I try to break it up as much as possible. Like, I like to report on it to an extent, to remind you guys, to be safe on the road. To remind you that police are out there, and they are trying to bust you. I try to keep that out there. But I also try not to flood you guys with just bad news, essentially. So here's some good news. Cannabis legalization legislation filed in Vermont. This comes to us from the 420 Times. The legislation entitled An Act Relating to Regulation and Taxation of Marijuana, or technically known as House Bill 499, has been officially filed by legislators in Vermont. The bill is co-sponsored by the Fabulous Five, policymakers who include Representatives Susan Davis, David Dean, James Mausland, William Stevens, and Teo Zagar. That's a little out there. Teo Zagar? Sorry, that's a new one. Like, I honestly, I don't even know what culture that name is from. Teo Zagar. Tozagr. The legislation in question was introduced to the state's House of Representatives and then officially assigned to the House Judiciary Committee. If House Bill 499 is victorious, it would permit adults 21 and over the right to cultivate up to 3 adult cannabis plants in the privacy of their home, possess up to 2 ounces of dried flower, and even legally possess the paraphernalia necessary to consume said flowers without fear of imprisonment. The measure is also written to form a regulatory structure for the wholesale and retail sale of cannabis, including licensing and omissions by the Department of Liquor Control. Good news. Good news, everyone. Good. I'm really surprised by this. This is really just another example of what legalization efforts can really do. Like, those 2 movements in Washington and Colorado really sparked a true fire across the nation. We've been seeing decriminalization bills, medical marijuana bills, and now even legalization bills popping up everywhere. So really, guys, vote on these, get them passed. The more states that get this passed, it's like a steamrolling effect. More and more are gonna get on the bandwagon. You can't stop the bud, man. So good news, good news. Hopefully this passes. I was gonna say probably not, but I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. And honestly, I don't know the political climate in Vermont to say anything. But email your senators, guys. Email your representatives in apparently the House, and let them know the truth about cannabis. Link them to some articles, some studies. Let them know personal stories. Let them know what you're suffering with and how cannabis can help you. Let them know that it's not some evil drug, that it's a medicine. It's just like any other medicine out there, even safer than most of the medicines out there. Let them know the truth. It's really important. Like, people ask me, what can I do? Actually, they don't even ask me, what can I do? People ask me all the time, what's going on in my state right now in terms of legalization? And I say to you, it's what you're doing right now. What are you doing right now? You're doing nothing, probably. And I mean, I'm not to insult anyone, but, unless you're actually getting out there and you're emailing your representatives, you're petitioning, you're trying to get groups together, you're forming a local normal, and, getting these committees together and trying to, formulate local events and movements, you're not doing anything, and you can watch the activism happen all you want, but, without you, it's so much weaker. People might, it's the whole, one vote, does one vote matter? Yes, one vote does matter. Get your ass in there, get your voice out there, get your voice heard. Sorting through the notes, guys, while venting a bit, trying to get you guys off your asses and into the normal committees. There are a bunch. If you guys want to go to normal.org and see if there are any local normal groups in your area, that's a great decision. It's a great way to start, it's like a right into the vein of the activism effort, guaranteed in your state or your county. Really, it's more localized. Boulder City Council bans recreational cannabis. This comes to us from the Cannabis Now magazine by Tony Rogers. The Boulder City Council voted to delay legalizing cannabis until 2014. The move was a major blow to the cannabis reform movement. Being that Boulder is one of the most progressive counties in Colorado, activists around the nation perceive the measure as a major setback. Representatives of the cannabis industry were not pleased. Businesses need to know Boulder is in or is Boulder out, guards said at the meeting. That would reassure everyone that the marijuana business will continue even if the medical marijuana becomes a lame duck. The council debated on how to zone where in Boulder smoking cannabis would be permitted. Coffee shops were ruled out as were hotels, the street, and backyards, crippling any plans for cannabis tourism. The number of plants was also in contention. Private homes were limited to 6 plants, while dispensaries are limited to 500 plants, as well as a limit on how many clients they can accept. Amendment 64 requires Colorado to finalize cannabis regulation by July 1st, 2013, and issue licenses by January 1st, 2014. So that's fucked up, man. Now that's bad news for Boulder. I'm sorry, guys. Don't know what's going on over there. I've seen a lot of contention in Colorado for as progressive as it is and as open as you guys are about marijuana. It seems like a lot of people, as the guy says in fucking American Weed, we don't want to see our town going to pot. It's interesting. It's, I don't blame them. It's really, if you have like that mentality, like it's your town, it's your home, and all of a sudden it morphs into this fucking Amsterdam, that might be a little shocking, to say the least. Especially when, honestly, there will still be black market action happening. Like there is still just confusion. Not even just black market. There's just a lot of confusion happening. And you have to sit, even if you're not a part of the cannabis movement at all, and you have to be a part of it because you're living there. So I understand these people. But it's kind of fucked up, They're limiting the freedoms. Like they're like, fuck you. You can't even smoke in your own backyard. Like, I'm sorry, but if I'm sitting in my backyard, I have to smell somebody's smoke of a barbecue. Like I have to, if maybe I'm a vegan, maybe I don't like the smell of meat, and I'm automatically, I'm forced, I'm being assaulted by the smell of meat, and I have to put up with it because he has the freedom to consume his meat, and that is his property to do what he pleases. And, you know, it sucks that the wind is blowing my way, but, you know, I can fucking go inside. And it's the same thing with cannabis. If I'm fucking outside and I don't smoke weed, and all of a sudden, you know, I see a puff of smoke and, oh, that's the reefer. You know, what's the problem here? You know, like, it's a little ridiculous. You know, you wonder what kind of logic leads you down the path where you say you don't have the freedom to do what you want in your own backyard. Like, what idea of marijuana do they have in their mind that leads them to believe that it's that dangerous, that if I combust it in my backyard, that it's going to be that much of a problem to a neighbor? So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, you guys in Colorado just get into the councils and get your word out and just disseminate these fucking idiots, dude. Honestly, I'm not even gonna put it lightly. These people are fucking stupid to tell me that I can't do something in my backyard like that when it's not hurting anybody else. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So in other news in Colorado, Amendment 64 task force wraps up their work in Colorado. This comes to us from the 420 Times, from Joe. The group charged with making recommendations on legal recreational marijuana to the Colorado legislature has finished their work. The Amendment 64 task force is supposed to make their recommendations today. The task force looked at everything from potential tax rates to potency and labeling standards to recommendations for keeping the drug away from children. However, the task force report is just a series of suggestions. The final marijuana industry regulations will be made by state lawmakers who have created a special marijuana committee to look at the issue. I thought the last line was the most important for you guys to realize in Colorado. Excuse me. After all of this, like, hubbub about these people, you know, talking, that's all they've been doing. They've just been talking about what they want to do. None of that really matters because at the end of the day, there's a committee who's going to make all these decisions. Maybe the people who were part of the committee were part of the discussion, you know, to not totally make it seem like it's completely pointless, but, you know, it's not like we as the people get to vote or have a say. You know, it's like these certain people who we don't even get to appoint. The people we appoint them, and then we have to trust that as experts in the field, they can really provide the correct regulations. Rather, it's so strange. It's so strange how they're handling this. I mean, I can understand what they're trying to do is they're trying to essentially force a regulated market to kind of stomp out the black market as quickly as possible, rather than just, you know, letting, you know, fucking commerce happen. Because I guarantee you, if you just say, like, hey, just like medical marijuana, you know, we're gonna give out licenses for businesses. You pay like $500 a year, $1,000, whatever, and you get a license and you sell marijuana. It's that simple. Or you get a license, you grow marijuana. It's that simple. And they just have people go by the farms every now and then and check the number of plants and everything. Like these like intense regulations like this. Like it's a little. I mean I can understand some of them. But it's really excessive. It's really excessive. You could just let this industry, which has been training itself fucking like ninjas in the black market. Like, people know how to sell weed already. Trust me, bro. They've been doing it for like 40 years. They've been growing it, they've been processing it, and they've been selling it. They know how to do it. You don't need to like create this system for them to fucking to jump through the hoops. They know. They're fucking, like I said, they're ninjas. They're assassins. Yeah, man. I don't know what else to say. The most interesting thing here, I think, is the forcing of like childproof stuff on edibles and marijuana. I think that's a little excessive, honestly. Let's take a step back here. Why are we so upset about our children getting our hands on our marijuana? Because it's bad? What's going to happen if they eat this weed? They're going to have a bad trip for a couple hours, and that's it. They can't overdose on it. They're not going to die. They're going to be tripping out. They might puke a little bit, but they're going to be fine. They might be a little discomforted. But let's take another step back here. How does a child get a hold of this marijuana? How is this child getting their grubby little fingers on this ganja? There is a irresponsible parent leaving it out within reach. Where does the responsibility lie here? Does it lie in the store vendors to wrap the cannabis up in this fucking... Do we want it to be like the electronics industry, where they have this packaging where you think the electronics are gonna go bad? You have to fucking attack it with the highest quality scissors you have, and then you cut up your hands. Like, do we treat it like the medical industry, where we have these pill bottles that are difficult to open? Like, what? Why are we requiring this? This is another hoop for the vendors to jump through. You know, they're gonna have to buy. They're gonna be forced to buy these special containers to sell, rather than just buying little baggies, or we are providing their own containers. Maybe they want to give them out on glass jars. You know, like, it's another example of legislatures stepping in and taking the responsibilities out of people's hands, and essentially taking away our freedoms. Like, we're saying, you know, because these people can't be responsible enough, or even, you know, it's not even that they're responsible enough. They can't even own up to it and say, like, yeah, I left the cannabis out on the counter, and the kid ate it, and he didn't die. You know, like, nothing happened here. I admit my mistake. I will keep the cannabis like further up, or like locked away from the child. Like, if we only had responsible parents who could just follow that train of thought, we wouldn't have these lawmakers having to establish these regulations. So stuff like that I find a little superfluous. I mean, people will look at it and they see it automatically and they're like, oh, that's a good idea. Because automatically the children are safer, right? But think about it for a second, you know? Like, why the fuck? Like, why the fuck does it even matter? You know, as long as the parents are watching out for their kids, it should be okay. I feel like it should have been a Sesame Street segment. Massachusetts Attorney General strikes down medical marijuana dispensary bans. Good news, everyone. This comes from the 420 Times by Joe. As you can tell, we love the 420 Times. They're a really good news outlet. Today, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office ruled that the city of Wakefield cannot ban medical marijuana dispensaries in their town under the state's new medical cannabis law. Towns may regulate, but not ban, according to the ruling. The Act's legislative purpose could not be served if a municipality could prohibit treatment centers within its borders, for if one municipality could do so, presumably all could do so, the AG's office said. In a separate decision, the Attorney General's office approved Burlington's temporary moratorium on medical marijuana treatment centers, which lasts until 2014. Ooh, excuse me. Good news? Kind of. It's nice that, I mean, the statement that was made by the AG office was really powerful there, because it essentially, it a lot of counties and a lot of medical marijuana states have been banning medical cannabis, and they've been banning these dispensaries. We've seen it a lot in California, and even in Colorado with, I think, Fort Collins as being the primary example. And if we have one county ban, what's to say that all the other counties can't ban it? Then what happens? Then there is no medical marijuana, even though the whole state decided on it. It's a strange conundrum with the legal system. It's the kind of supremacy clause on the lower level. So it's nice that they came out and they're like, no, fuck you. You can say like you can have one dispensary only, but there has to be dispensaries in this fucking town. There has to be access to medical marijuana because we as a state approved it. Like, thank you. Somebody is fucking thinking with a clear head. It's ridiculous when these people in these states, the majority comes out and they vote for it, and then they fight it tooth and nail. It's ridiculous. The return of ridiculous. Nepal police crack down on festival cannabis smokers. This comes to us from a raw story by Agents France Press. That can't be a real name. Agents France Press. Like I maybe have heard of Agents, but literally France is like in their name, and like they got married, I'm guessing, because it's like a dash, and it's Press, which is like a really like rich new. Okay, I'm analyzing the author a little too much here. Nepalese police said Sunday that they have arrested more than 60 pilgrims for smoking cannabis and disturbing the peace at a major religious festival. Cannabis is illegal in Nepal, but under an ancient legal loophole, authorities allow holy men, known as sadhus, to smoke it during an annual, often wild, celebration in honor of the Hindu god Shiva. Thousands of pilgrims travel to the sprawling Pashutinath temple complex in Kathmandu every year all over Nepal and India to mark the occasion, which is known as Shivaratri. It's interesting. Like, here's an update. I didn't actually get the article, but if you search for it, you can find it. The police came out, or the government came out rather. I don't know if it was the police or the government, one of the two, came out and said that it's cool. We're gonna let these people smoke cannabis. We're allowing it this year. Like yet another year where we allow it, quote unquote. So it's kind of a non-news, I guess, because it deflates. But it's interesting. It's interesting how we have, like, how do I want to pose this? Like, America was a country that's established on the ability to practice your religious freedom. The fucking, what is it? The Protestants came over on the Mayflower. Was that the story? I don't know my American history too much. But the fucking religious people came because they were being oppressed in Europe, came to America to seek religious freedom. So it's fascinating how even in America, we don't even, like, they allow it in India, but we wouldn't allow that in America. That wouldn't happen in America. It's interesting. It's kind of a de-evolution for America. But I guess that's nice news for Nepal. Not nice news for those 67 pilgrims. But fuck them, man. They're also disturbing the peace. If you're smoking weed and you're disturbing the peace, you're probably on something else. You're probably drunk. You're probably, I don't know, you need to smoke a little more weed, Like, I don't know. I rarely hear a story where man smokes weed and then starts riot. It's unless like man smokes weed and then someone takes man's joint and then he starts a riot. Then it's a justified riot. Sorry. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. It's always fascinating to see people practice the religious use of cannabis. Like I personally use cannabis religiously as well. Like I find it an incredible aid in meditation. I find that it's an incredible aid in life. Like the mother Ganja herself, she gives you plenty of truths and she makes you a better person. And being able to smoke that sacrament and being able to praise her and learn from her, that is a incredible benefit in my personal life, and I imagine plenty of people's lives. So, to take away that religious right, for me to, I look up to that like some people, they look at this imaginary God in the sky and they point to this book, this holy Bible, and they point to a figure on a cross. And I point to a plant. I point to a plant that grows in the ground, and it makes people feel good, and it makes them their body work better, and it makes their mind at ease. I look at a spirit inside of the plant that invokes the person and inspires people and whispers in their ear and tells them lovely truths and even horrible ones. So, it's kind of disappointing when people get that close-minded, Hopefully we reach a point in society where we can all accept each other for whatever we believe in, for whatever world we create with our own point of view. Here's a funny story to lighten up my fucking hippie talk. Marijuana dropping geese highly prized in Fort Collins. This comes to us from the Collegian. I think that's how you say it. Collegian by David Davis English. I'm not even gonna read it. Basically, excuse me. In Fort Collins, there were a bunch of geese that ate some marijuana. They were pooping out some green poop, and it was very comical. And there were people running around trying to collect some marijuana pooping geese. It's kind of one of those stories where you think you would see in a marijuana like cartoon show or like a marijuana like comedy show, but it happened in real life. Like honestly, like I would love to see if we ever get like a marijuana cartoon show, if they did like a plot point on this, or at least a reference to it. Oh boy, I can't wait to see more articles like this pop up once cannabis becomes legalized globally. That'll be silly shit. One more, and actually two more, 3 more, 4 more, 4 more, 5 more, 5 more. Sorry guys, I'll try to do these quick. Washington mom let toddler inhale marijuana smoke. This comes to us from the Seattle PI, basically the Associated Press. Centralia police say they have arrested a 24-year-old woman on suspicion of letting her 22-month-old boy inhale marijuana smoke from a bong. Police say they also found 40 marijuana plants inside the residence as well as firearms. That's it for the story. There's really not much else to say. But it's really interesting how a baby was smoking from a bong. Like, you hear all these stories about parents blowing smoke in the faces of their kids, and I equate that to kind of like, how your parents let you take a swig of alcohol when you're a kid. You look at them and you're like, can I have some? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. It's like, it's not gonna hurt them, it's not gonna kill them. And you take a little sip and you're like, oh, that tastes nasty, how do you drink that? You know, and I'm sure it's the same with weed. You blow smoke in their face and they're like, how you smoke that shit? You know, but it's fascinating that she got the fucking baby to put their fucking mouth on a bong and work it. Like, I mean, I'm sure it didn't work that successfully, but it's like they went through the whole rigmarole. Like, they were that fucking retarded. Here's like some, I don't want to say a warning, but like some good news for you guys in Colorado and even Washington. Profiling Colorado drivers. This comes to us from High Times, surprisingly, by Mark Miller. In Colorado, where adult recreational use of pot has been legalized, life is a wonderful thing. But what happens when a Rocky Mountain state resident ventures across the border? That becomes an issue for Rocky Mountain residents since November. Increasing evidence indicates police profiling of vehicles bearing Colorado plates on suspicion the driver is smuggling pot across state lines. And they go on to say an actual contributor excuse me, to a news publication was pulled over on 2 separate occasions on suspicion that he was smuggling marijuana. Or not necessarily that, but they were keeping an eye out for Colorado plates. So it's a warning for all you guys. If you're smoking marijuana and you're heading over the border, be very careful. You know, interstate, that is federal territory, and people get really tight about that shit for some reason. Like, suddenly you cross an imaginary line and shit goes down. So if you're crossing state lines and you're carrying your medicine, don't fucking rely on that medical marijuana card excuse. Just keep your medicine hidden, keep yourself driving safe, and keep your head under the radar. Don't be fucking smoking a joint, chiefing, hotboxing and shit, you feel me? This is another comical bit of news. A bit of life imitating art. Former KFC turned into medical marijuana dispensary. This comes to us from Salon, distributed by Cannabis Culture, by Katie McDonald. Kind for Cures, or KFC, is a recently opened medical marijuana dispensary in Southern California, which isn't exactly news in a state swimming with such establishments. But there's one thing that sets the business apart from its crop of competitors. They opened the shop in a vacated Kentucky Fried Chicken storefront and kept the franchise's iconic design intact. Sure, they can't keep the logo, but they decided to borrow from the acronym, shortening their name to KFC. And while they don't sell chicken, they do sell U2 Kush, Blackberry Kush, KFC OG, Diamond OG, South Park Kush, Bitchin' Blue Dream, Green Crack, etc., etc. Interesting. If you guys don't know, there was a South Park episode about the legalization of medical marijuana in Colorado. And the family, they go to KFC to get a meal, and they find that the KFC was actually converted into a medical marijuana dispensary. And this is exactly like that. Except, funny enough, it's happening in California, not Colorado. It would have been perfect if it was in Colorado. To expand on this article, I was noticing that I posted this on the WeedPornDaily Tumblr, blog.weedporndaily.com. And it got over like 300 notes on the first day, and a lot of people were reblogging it, saying that they had visited the dispensary, that they knew the owners, that they knew people who work there, etc., etc. And basically the consensus that I got was that it was overpriced, that it was just one of those dispensaries where they just slap names on shit and they overprice it. You know, it's all about the money. But some people were getting the hookup on the low, you know, like friends, and the weed wasn't that good. But you know, it's funny. It's funny enough that they did it, and that they're actually keeping the KFC storefront. I would love to just swing by. Maybe I wouldn't buy anything, but it'd be nice to just scope out the establishment and see how they laid it out. Some more good news. New Mexico marijuana decriminalization bill passes House. This comes to us from the Stop the Drug War, used by Philip Smith, brought to us by Cannabis Culture. And I'm not even gonna... I guess I should read it. A bill that would decriminalize the possession of small amount of marijuana by adults and depenalize the possession of up to a half pound of pot narrowly passed the New Mexico House Tuesday. The measure was approved on a vote of 37 to 33. House Bill 465 would decriminalize the possession of up to 4 ounces. Possession of between 4 and 8 ounces would be a petty misdemeanor, but the maximum sentence would be a fine. So that's nice. The quote here is a real seller. Why on God's green earth would we want to spend... Wait, let me don a voice here. Why on God's green earth would we want to spend money throwing college kids in jail for having a few joints? We could be spending that money on early childhood education, asked Representative Brian Egoff. I'm very sure he did not sound like that at all. In fact, that accent was very horrible. I thought I had a nice, country accent down, but apparently it needs a little more refining. But he said that shit during the debate, and that's pretty dope, man, because that is the fucking truth. People love to say, they love Obama. But Obama is throwing college kids in jail and ruining their lives just because they want to smoke a plant and have a good time. They can drink beer and get fucking sloshed and even possibly die, but they can't smoke a little joint, or they'll get thrown in jail, get a criminal record, and have a hard time finding a job, getting scholarships, etc. So it would be nice if if more states passed this. Rather, it's excellent that you guys in New Mexico passed this, especially since you guys are fucking right there on the edge of the drug war. I've heard a lot of stuff happening in New Mexico of the drug war bleeding over the state line, or the country line rather, from Mexico to New Mexico. So good news. Good news. Hopefully this leads to less violence. And one more, the last article. This was a bit ridiculous as well. Excuse me. Florida's new bong ban bill. Leave it to High Times. By Mike Hughes. A new bill introduced in the Florida House of Representatives seeks to ban pipes and bongs from retail shops. House Bill 49 would prohibit retail sale of certain drug paraphernalia. Back in 2010, Florida made it illegal for most businesses to sell bongs or pipes. Only shops that make 75% or more of their income from tobacco sales are currently allowed to sell the paraphernalia. That bill passed the House by unanimous vote, 115 to 0. This time around, all businesses would be barred from selling bongs. The Sunshine State is difficult to pin down when it comes to pot. Just last month, a poll revealed that 70% of Floridians support a constitutional amendment to legalize medical marijuana. State Representative Darrell Rusin, the man behind the bong ban legislation, had this to say. Get ready for this, guys. Rather than regulating them, let's just ban them. If we can make people drive to Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina to get fireworks, they can drive to get these utensils of death. Yup, you read that correctly. Rep. Rusin called bongs utensils of death. When Rusin was pushing the initial paraphernalia ban in 2010, he said it was because it was all a part of the drug trade and the criminal enterprise that we know exists and destroys neighborhoods, families, and order in our society. But perhaps Rusin's personal history is coloring his view of pot paraphernalia. Rusin is a former crack cocaine addict who admits his addiction cost him his law practice and his first marriage. Oh, Florida. Yeah, this is fucking Florida, man. Like, every news that you hear come out of Florida is bad news. Like, even if it's not weed related. You had the guy eating the guy's face off on bath salts, which wasn't really bath salts at the end of the day. And then you have people fucking... There was like... God, there's so much... there's like a meme going around, like Florida Man. And it's like Florida Man rides alligator, Florida Man... Like stupid shit like that, and it's just all the ridiculous shit that happens in Florida. It's a wonder that it's a part of the U.S. really. But I find it fucking flabbergasting that anybody is listening to this guy. Like, what kind of credibility does a former crack cocaine addict have? I'm sorry. I mean, just because you've gone through some shit and you've recovered doesn't mean that you have a right to talk about it. Like, he's calling bongs utensils of death, and he's saying that bong stores are simply facets in the whole scheme of the black market. Like, they aren't jobs for hardworking people. They don't provide money to local artists and glass blowers who create these pipes and sell them to the shops who sell them to people. You know, it's not like they sell the pipes and they explicitly say that they're for tobacco, and people themselves go out and they use them for marijuana, cocaine, possibly even DMT. You know, like, people are the ones that misuse the, like, let's ban spoons. Don't people who do heroin, like, they heat up spoons and stuff and they smoke with that? Like, we should ban those. You know, those are utensils of death. If people want to buy spoons, they should go to Georgia and Alabama. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. This is one of those times where I wish I could visually show you guys something, and it would be the segment from The Union where Joe Rogan comes out and he says, you know, why don't we just ban bridges? You know, I could jump off a fucking bridge and I could kill myself. Why don't we just ban bridges? Why don't we nerf the world? You know, at what point do we draw the line? It all comes back to personal responsibility. You know, do we say that it's the person's fault for misusing the tool, or do we blame the tool when the tool is truly innocent? It seems to be the problem with cannabis. A lot of people associate a lot of the drug war with cannabis, and cannabis itself is a perfectly innocent plant at the end of the day. You know, and all this criminality is just coming out of the illegality of it. That's the end of the news. That's the end of the news. I think I got through it pretty fast. Let me check the time. What's up? Under an hour. That's not a good time, actually. Ranted a bit there. Lordy, I think I need another hit. My back is killing me. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been upping the workout routine. I don't know if you guys know, but I do yoga. I've been trying to take it more seriously now. And I actually like, there are different types of yoga. There's like pranayama, there's like ashtanga, there's like it's like different schools. Like, I think pranayama is focused on breathing, and there's one. Is it pranayama that's breathing? There's one that's like based on poses, and it's really focused on getting the pose right. There's one that's that you keep a pose as long as possible, and you actually get into a psychedelic state. There's actually, if you guys are interested, you can listen to the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and I don't know which episode it is, but it's a female guest, which should narrow it down significantly. And she comes on and she says that she's actually practiced yoga to the point where she was able to hold positions for like hours at a time and go into psychedelic states that you would experience on, say, like mushrooms or LSD or stuff like that. So it's interesting. It's a way to get like a natural trip. You know, you don't have to not only hunt down a fucking dealer and pay them money for it, but you could just sit in your room and trip trip yourself out. But I've been practicing power yoga, which isn't like a classic school or anything, but it's just more yoga that's based on building muscle strength and working your whole body. Excuse me. One of my idols right now is Rodney Yee. He is a fucking boss. I'm trying to get half as flexible as that man. But the whole point of that was that my back is fucking killing me, man. I've been doing, like, just fucking downward dog, man. Like, simple fucking poses. You hold them long enough, and you hold them with the right amount of conviction, and they will destroy you. It's actually gotten to the point where I've had to, like, have massages, man. Had to break down the scar tissue and the tight muscles. Let me brag about how I lift. Do you even lift, bro? Do you even lift? But seriously, guys, you guys should consider yoga. Like, for a while, I was one of those guys that was like, man, I don't even need to work out. I stay fit by just eating Twinkies and, I don't know. Like, I was just one of those guys. And I just slowly started to see the toll that not exercising has on your body. And yoga was one of those things that truly helped me just bring my body back to normalcy, really. Like, now I couldn't touch my toes, and now I can touch my toes, and more. And now I don't get so tired when I walk long distances, and my muscles don't feel as sore when I do things. It's nice, And yoga is super fucking simple. Like, it's not like those fucking P90X crazy workout things people do. It's not like kettlebells that some people do, battle ropes on it.com. Codename Rogan, get 10% off all products. Hemp seed powder. Yeah, that's all I got. Hope you guys are joining me. I was packing a bowl of this sativa. Hope you guys are smoking a joint, rolling a joint. Smoke a blunt for me, guys. I haven't smoked a blunt in like months. Not really. Like a month or two. Not really. Like a month. Not really. Like a month. Maybe like 3 weeks. But it's been a while, man, and blunts is like one of my favorite ways to smoke. 87 blunts a day, nephew. 87. That was a nice hit. Had ice in it before, so it was a lot smoother. But this time there was no ice, so I could actually feel the hot smoke creeping up my throat. Quite a nice sensation. Oof. I feel the pain in my back just melting away. I love it. Relieving. Alright. Now that we are away from Weeducation news, let's get into WeedPornDaily news, shall we? I don't know if you guys saw it, because I posted it at like 2 in the morning or something like that, but I posted a California cannabis law guide. It's basically like a rundown of the medical marijuana laws that you guys currently have in California. Prop 15 and SB 420. I'm looking to create I don't want to say a database, but just a bunch of articles on all the states possible and all the countries I can, and break down their cannabis laws, and provide links if possible to the actual legislature and things like that. So I picked California first because I don't know. It's one of those states that it's really loose and it's really up to interpretation in a lot of places, and it's up in controversy in some places. So it's actually nice to sit down with the actual legislature and become more informed with it. I highly recommend you guys actually read the legislature that gets passed, because you really you see it in black and white what the rules are. Like, if you really want to protect yourself from the law, you gotta read the same book that they're reading. So I got that up. I hope you guys read that, enjoy that. It's just the first draft. I want to expand on it a bit, but that's kind of the format that I want to do for all the other ones. Just keep it simple, and just provide the raw information for you guys, most importantly. Site-wise, I think that's it. I've been working on a lot of underground shit on the low, and just busy work. The usual WeedPornDaily TV, editing photos, queuing, making GIFs, all that good stuff. Making podcasts. I feel like there's something I'm missing that I've done with the website. Like, have you guys, I talked about it last time, the whole new way I'm interpreting the tagging system with avatars on the website. Looks way better, way easier to navigate now. Yeah, that's about it. I put up recently ads on High Times. High Times, I say recently, I think it was in the last year though. Maybe even earlier. But they started a kind of Google AdSense, but for cannabis websites, which is a really big thing. Like, if you actually get into Google Ads and you own a cannabis website, you'll find out really quickly that Google does not support cannabis websites. If you apply for the Google AdSense program, they will deny you if you have any type of drugs, quote unquote, on your website, including cannabis, even though it's legal in some parts of the US. So it's nice. It's nice. High Times established this ad network, and I've joined it to give it a test run, because I've had a lot of bad experience with a bunch of ad click-based things. But yeah, the ads are pretty relevant. I'm surprised. Like, it all links to seeds and smoke shops and shit like that, like stuff that you guys would actually be interested in. So check that out. It's in the sidebar on the website. Yeah, it doesn't really stand out. I don't want the ad to stand out. Oh, they have pictures too. I guess it does stand out. Yeah, grow your own weed. And any 2 celebration pipes. $149 for any 2 pipes. Wow, that's kind of pricey. Oh, it comes with free cleaning liquid. That's nice. Let's move on to Weed Country. There's nothing to talk about with WeedPornDaily right now. I'll get back to you guys on that. Have you guys been watching Weed Country? I don't blame you if you haven't been watching it. I personally wouldn't watch it. Like, if I didn't have to run a weed website and keep up to date on this kind of shit, I would just let that fly under my radar. I'm just gonna... Let me just drop it right now, because I'll probably talk about it on future podcasts. Like, I'll talk about the content of the episode, but this will be the final time that I give my impression on Weed Country. Weed Country fucking sucks. I've been looking around and I've been reading reviews, and a lot of the reviews were based off of the fucking trailer. First off, how the fuck are you gonna review anything based off of a trailer? La-di-da, let me go and fucking look at movie trailers all day, and then review them, and act like I review movies when I'm really reviewing movie trailers. Like, who the fuck, like, I'm sorry. I'm calling you out. Any website that did that, you are a fucking retard. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You are a fucking retard. Like, I don't know what you're, like, let me review 2 minutes of what is probably the best footage they've shot. You know, like, whatever. So the actual show. Some people have actually reviewed the actual show, and they touch upon it mildly, which I wonder why. Like, I wonder why. Maybe I'm oversensitive, or maybe I'm an asshole, maybe I'm critical, but it bothers me a lot more. And this show is just a culmination of just assholes and just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a fake show that they ramp up the drama with every single element that they can, every single second that they can, and it really degrades the subject matter of the actual show. You know, we're here for cannabis, we're here to learn, we're here to you know, get into the situation and understand it from these point of views that they're highlighting here, and each person that comes out is overly aggressive. There's always this incredible drama, or there's this combination of drama that doesn't even really happen, and it like let me make it, because I say that and it sounds so detached because I'm just talking. I'm not actually using examples. They interview a grower, and he's about to smuggle some marijuana to another place, and they talk to a cop, and he's saying, I'm gonna catch people who smuggle marijuana. So obviously they're like, you know, building up that, you know, these two are gonna meet. They show the cop parked on the road, and they show a truck, the car that the smuggler guy is driving, pass by a cop car, and you see the guy react to a cop, and you see the cop react to a guy. But you find that these are actually two separate situations, but all the way up to that point, they lead you to believe that this is happening at the same time, that the smuggler that they're interviewing is running into the cop that they're interviewing. It's a very, very interesting editing choice. I'll say interesting. I'll say bad. I'll say bad editing choice. How about that? It's it's really fucking bad. Like, you're fucking lying to me, dude. You know, at that point, I'm like, what is real? Like, are the facts that you're conveying to me even real? Like, why should I even, you know, watch this show? Like, is this some fairy tale story you're telling me? Because if it is, it's not interesting. I thought this was supposed to be reality, or at least like some sort of, I don't even want to say scripted reality. It should be like some spotlight on reality. So yeah, that really, like, you know, it'd be kind of okay if they did it once, but they do it every episode. They find a way to bring the two people that they, like, the same grower comes in supposed contact with people who look for illegal cannabis grows, like cops. And again, it's like a non-story because it's two separate incidents. It's frustrating. Like, honestly, watching the show, I have to smoke a bowl. I have to stop and smoke a bowl because, like, normally, like, you watch a show like, I used to watch American Weed. I don't know if you guys used to watch that show, but it highlighted the medical marijuana industry in Colorado, and specifically the situation going on in Fort Collins. And in the miniseries, there was actually a story arc where I don't know if it was a former police chief or like former cop, like something like that, but there was this one guy campaigning against medical marijuana, and he got it banned in the state, in the county of Fort Collins. And the whole time, every time they would cut to that guy, he would sit there and he would be like, I don't want my town going to pot. I don't want to see, these people here and things like that. Just bringing down the stoner community. And it was frustrating. And then they would cut to the cops, and the cops would be busting people. And they would be busting people like a guy growing in his backyard, and you could see the pot a little bit over his fence, and they're like, bro, we have a law that says the weed has to be in a place where nobody can see it. What if a kid jumped over your fence and stole your pot? That would be your fault. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, set that situation up again? A kid trespasses on my property, steals my property, and then gets high off of my property, and all of that is my fault. Okay, it's not the parents' fault for raising a child that doesn't follow the law. It's ridiculous. That kind of stuff gets me incredible. Like, I have a temper, and that just pushes my buttons, like hearing shit like that kind of stupidity. So I hear that, I have to pause, I have to smoke a bowl. And, that was manageable with American Weed, because they would cut to the advocates, and the advocates would make me feel good, and they would make me feel empowered, and I would be like, yeah, man, fight the good fight. Fuck these assholes. It was really, they edited it really well, to have, the good guys and the bad guys. And not necessarily, to have a bias, I just attach myself to the cannabis advocates. So in weed country, what they do is they have the smugglers, the people breaking the law, and they have the people upholding the law. And both of them frustrate me. They have the people upholding the law, which is essentially like the people fucking upholding those ridiculous rules. Not necessarily in this case, though, because every bust that they've shown was legitimate. It's always like someone trespassing on federal property, doing an illegal grow, not necessarily private grows, even though they do harass those people. But even the advocates, man, it pisses me off, dude. Like, it's just, there's not enough positive information conveyed. It's just drama on their end, and anger. It's not like, maybe people feel for them, maybe people are feeling for the guy who supposedly got his dispensary raided or whatever, but, when they flash to the dispensary and they show girls walking around, like, half naked, I think it'll be hard to draw sympathy for that guy, everything, the image that they paint of everything, and like the overall painting, and then each individual painting that makes up the big painting. Like, it's just very aggressive, very violent. Like, I just don't know what they're trying to accomplish with this show. It seems like they're trying to make a good show. They're trying to make something that provokes people. They're trying to make something that gets people on the edge of their seats. But in terms of actually educating people, I think this is just spreading more misinformation. It really highlights the people who, it kind of makes them heroes, the people who are anti-cannabis, the cowboys, so to say. These people who tear down these plants, the people who fight, cannabis being grown and distributed. They're like cowboys. They're fighting this fight, and it's a winning or a losing for them. It's very strange, their mentality. I posted a video up on YouTube, a clipping of Weed Country, and it's the last, like, well, not the last 30 seconds or so, but it's like the last, like, in the last 5 minutes, they're wrapping up the whole episode and they're doing like a conclusion, and they had just done like a big bust, and they're talking, like they do that whole cutaway where they interview the people, and they talk to the people and they let them express, their views on the bust and how they feel, about it. Every time I say excuse me, I'm burping. That's my GERD. I'm sorry, can't help it. It's a medical condition. Lost my train of thought. Fucking doing the sympathy shit there. Right on, the 3 people. They interview 3 people, and I talk about it on the YouTube. I'll touch upon it here, but I wrote like a huge thing about it there. But basically, I'll talk about the second guy, because he really fucking infuriated me. Like, the second guy comes out and he's like, for every plant that I chop down, it's a win, because it's potentially stopping someone from getting behind the wheel high and hurting someone, or smoking some marijuana and getting addicted to marijuana or other drugs. Like, he literally talks about the gateway theory, literally calls marijuana addictive, and also claims that marijuana causes accidents. Like, in one little, like, 5 or 10 second sound bit. It was appalling. It's that kind of just that's the stuff that they spread through the prohibition propaganda. The prohibition propaganda, it's all lies that keep cannabis illegal, because cannabis is not a gateway drug. I posted on the YouTube video page a couple links, one showing that studies have shown that cannabis is not the gateway. Drug dealers are the gateway, and actually alcohol has shown to be a greater gateway. And then he also claims that people are getting into accidents smoking cannabis. Where are the studies claiming this? I point out that a lot of studies say that drugs are a leading cause of accidents, but you're lumping in cannabis with heroin, prescription drugs, etc. Like you're saying that this harmless plant is on the same level with these incredibly addictive, hard-hitting, even killing, or lethal rather, narcotics. So it's ridiculous. Like, this guy, if he feels like such a fucking hero cutting down each of these marijuana plants, he should walk into the nearest liquor store and start breaking each bottle individually, because he is saving potentially a life. Because more people drive drunk than more people supposedly ever smoke cannabis or drug-related driving deaths. Drug driving is the leading cause of death. So why isn't he in a liquor store? And like I stated earlier, with the fucking, actually I forgot. I mentioned something about alcohol earlier. Fuck. Whatever. But alcohol is definitely more of a demon drug. Like, why isn't he fucking going into cigarette stores and burning cigarettes? Because that might potentially save people from cancer. Why isn't he going to fucking roller coasters and shutting them down? Because it might possibly kill someone. Like, at what point? I would be okay if this guy came out and he was like, you know what? They give me a paycheck. You tell me to cut down marijuana plants, and I'll do it. You guys make it illegal, or you guys make it legal, I'll go cut down opium plants. Like, if I hear a guy say that, I'll be like, good, you keep doing your job, bro. What am I gonna say, Like, I'm gonna advocate to legalize it so that you stop chopping them down. I'll work the system, But when you get a guy like this, you get a guy who fucking feels like a hero. He feels like he is winning. He feels like he is protecting people, saving lives by chopping down each of these plants. Like, I don't know what he's thinking. And it's really interesting because I talked about it, I think, in the last podcast. There's one there's one little, like, bit where they're walking through the forest, these federal park protectors, I don't know what they are. They're walking through the forest and they're saying, like, you know, these people, they like to come in on the hiking trails, set up a camp, and just start illegal marijuana grows. And they have guns, and because they come in and, you know, disturb them, you know, they've had to arm up, and anybody who comes now is in danger of being shot, you know. They're not going to distinguish between, you know, the park ranger people, the federal park people, and just a bystander. So by these people being cowboys and getting in the forest, I mean, honestly, they do have to do it. You know, these people shouldn't be growing in this federal property. That's not their property to be growing stuff at all. But because of the way they handle it, you know, they come in guns a-blazing, you know, like cowboys. They cause, like, they cause a cowboy situation. They cause firefights. They cause shootouts, you know? Like, shootout at the fucking Pine Tree Corral or whatever the fuck, Redwood. I forget what tree they have in California. But you get my point, man. Like, it's... like, really, I can't really blame them because it's a product of the illegality of cannabis. These people are growing cannabis illegally because it's profitable to grow it illegally, and if we made it legal and regulated it, or not necessarily regulated it, but just made it legal, and more people grew it on a massive scale, it would be much cheaper, and they wouldn't be doing that shit. They'd probably be sneaking in and trying to grow, like, heroin, maybe, but I don't even think that. See, I say opium plants, but I don't even think that's like profitable. I don't even think that's how it's done. I don't know the opium process. I gotta watch a Drugs Inc. on it. But I'm blabbing. I am blabbing. I've been talking for an hour and 30. I think that's good enough. And that's my review of Weed Country. It fucking sucks, dude. It's fucking drama for no reason. They're conveying misinformation. They're promoting people like that, and people might get the impression that those people are heroes, that they are saving lives, when really their whole ideals are founded in falsehood. Yeah. So, Weed Country gets a fucking 0 out of 10. I fucking said it, 0 out of 10. The only reason I'm watching the show is to get fucking gifts out of it, and to be able to talk about it, to have a say on it. Because you really can't talk shit about something unless you watch it. So fuck Weed Country. And, can't wait till next week. Oh, man. Thank you guys for joining me. I really rant a bit. I get lost a lot. Cough a lot. Burp a lot. Piss you guys off in the ass box. Post dicks. Cause drama. I want to go back to that Nepal story on the religious use of cannabis. I really encourage you guys, if possible, to take the biggest hit for you possible. You know? Like, I say a big hit, and when I say a big hit, it's proportional to you. You know, like whatever hit, or however many hits rather, because sometimes you can't necessarily do it with one hit or one joint or anything. But smoke as much as you need to get to that point where you feel like you're falling into your chair, where you feel like you can barely keep your eyes open, or you feel like you're floating, like you gotta hold on to something or you're gonna float away. And when you walk funny because it's just, you feel so light. Or you smoke so much, you close your eyes and you start to see visuals, hallucinations, or you see them when your eyes are open. Get to that point. Sit in a very quiet room. If you really want to fucking up it up, play some meditation music and sit cross-legged. That might actually be uncomfortable. I would lay down, but that encourages sleeping. So sitting down in a really comfy chair works too. And just close your eyes, focus on your breath, and breathe fully from your stomach all the way up into the lungs, filling them up, holding that for a second, feeling the fullness of your lungs, and letting that go. And letting all the tension go, all the stress, all the worries, all the bullshit, all the pain, all the drama, all the weed country. Just let it all go. Let it all out. And take another deep breath. And as you take that one in, see the breath. See it as a whatever you need to, whatever visual you need to, but some people it works a white light or a golden light, a kind of just warming, beautiful light that not only you breathe in, but goes into you and becomes one with you. And focus on that light. Let it heal you. Let it love you. Let it energize you. And let that breath go. Keep that cycle going. Keep the breath, the focus primarily on the breath. Any thoughts you have, your mind might be wandering, especially because you're fucking blazed. I feel you, bro. Your mind's like, oh man, this is cool shit. Oh, we should get up and do this. Oh man, oh. That's just you trying to get yourself away from this moment. It's you trying to escape this moment. But embrace the moment. Become one with the moment. Let it all go. Whenever something comes up, oh, this idea, acknowledge it. Just let it go. Just let it go. Focus on the breathing again. Fall back to the breathing. Have another thought come up, oh, acknowledge it. That's a cool thought. But I'm going to focus on my breathing right now. And as long as you keep doing that, the more thoughts that pop up, it becomes further and far between. And then at a certain point, you reach this point where you don't need to focus on your breathing. And you become more conscious of a different sense of self. Something that isn't tied to this sensation of the body, these five senses that we have. Something that's a realm of the mind, of the spirit even. And while you're there, embrace Mary Jane, because I'm sure she'll be there. I'm sure she'll pop by and say hello, especially if you took all that effort to visit. So say hi to Mary Jane, maybe give her a kiss. She is bisexual, don't worry. She's down to party, polyamorous. And say hi for me. And I hope you guys really enjoy cannabis. It really is just like I can't really encapsulate it in one word, because it's so much in so many different ways. But I hope you guys can appreciate it, love it, learn from it, and make love to it. What's that? No, don't make love to your plants. I've gotten messages from people, should I jizz on my plants? Will that increase THC production? And to them I say, only by 1%. It's not really worth it. Sorry guys, I'm dragging this on. I love you guys. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys smoke lots of weed. I hope you guys keep up with the news. Lots of good news has been happening, man, since those legalization efforts in Colorado and Washington. Lots of good movements have been happening. Make sure to keep up with your local movements. Send plenty of emails to your local senators. Let them know that you want your state joining in on the action. Thank you guys. Again, shop.weedporndaily.com. Free shipping until Sunday. Make sure you find the link that I post on the website for that. New design up, the pot turn. It's a pot pattern. Check it out. PGP discounters, medical marijuana dispensary, delivery in California. If you're looking for indica, sativa, hybrids, edibles, even rolling papers, hit them up. WeedPornDaily/PGP to check out their weed menu, find their phone number, all that jazz. Thank you guys for joining me. Much love. Namaste. Stay regular, Super Stoners.